Hi, this is Roger, thanks for dropping by. I haven't done a bonsai video for a long time, and it's mainly because there really isn't much going on. We'll just have a quick look round. Let's see if the cat will get off the path. Come on. Row, row, row. Sorry, cat. Wherever he is, he's usually in the way. Right, so the Deshojo maple has decided not to do autumn. It's decided for its leaves to just all go and start falling off. We're not going to get a nice autumn colour on the Deshojo this time round, which is a shame. Now, this juniper here is going to have an awful lot of work done on it in the spring. It's the one that I took the air layers off that failed. We've got some carving to do. We've got some branch training to do, some wiring to do, and we've got to repot into a bonsai pot for the first time. So that one's got a lot of work to do, but for me, I don't do that sort of thing in the autumn. For me, it's a spring thing, which is when it will get done. The golden larch is doing what it does, going golden. So that's okay. The copper beech has got some beachy autumn colours, but nothing spectacular. The fact that the previous person cut a lot of the growth off to actually give it some shape to sell it means there's not a lot of leaves left on that one. What else? These two maples, it's a pity the sun isn't on them, but they've gone nice gold autumn colours. They look nice. Those two maples look nice. The hornbeam has done what it always does, turned brown. That very rarely does autumn colour. My Japanese cherry, Fuju cherry, I've forgotten what it is now. Something like Sojo no Mei or something or other. But this always has nice autumn colours, but it's always sensitive to wind. So if you get a lot of wind, the leaves come off before they do their best show. But we have got some autumn colour here. This tree needs a lot of work done on it. There's a lot of growth on here I don't want, crossing branches, all sorts of things. But when it was put in its pot, it was weak rooted. So I thought we'll give it a season and just let it grow. The more top growth you get, the more likelihood you are to expand your root system and all that sort of stuff. So it's been allowed to grow. Now, to me, to do anything to that tree this time of year would be daft. This blooms on bare branches before the buds burst. Well, you start cutting wood off at this time of year, you're cutting your flowers off, aren't you? So I'm not going to touch this until next year after it flowers. Then we'll get rid of the wood we don't want, and all the energy following flowering will go into what's left. And hopefully that will work. Still got some wire on this to come off as well. But it's not biting in to any extent. It doesn't matter. So we'll tidy that one up in the spring. What else? There's not a lot to repot next year. The maples were done. The Fuji cherry was done. On this table we've got the white pine. That was done. I started to wire that. That needs some more work done on it. There'll be some bud selection to a degree, but I want this to grow a bit. I want to get some energy into it, so I won't be taking too much off of that. It's not going mad, dropping needles. A lot of white pines are dropping 2- and 3-year-old needles this time of year and need a good tidy up. Well, this one doesn't. Well, not yet anyway. We've got this black pine, that's dropping needles. That's getting rid of old needles. So that's good. And the one next to it, that the tree I most like to dislike. I'll think of something with that, bound to. The actual, well, let me just do round under here first. The azalea pushed out some new growths. That's had its repot, so that's happy. This pine went into a new pot and has put on some new growth. This needs work done. I mean, this was a bit of a joke tree anyway. It was the one I pulled out of the ground and fell A over B backwards in doing so. My big Scots Pine, this one, all that I'm doing on this one from now on is keeping its shape. So, you know, the old needles will come off. I'll give it a tidy up soon when it's decided which are old needles and which aren't, and then they can all be plucked off. Lets a bit more light into the tree in the winter, and then you can see where next year's growth and buds are going to be, so it always helps. So that was repotted, the hornbeam was repotted, the beech tree has got to be repotted. Hang on, let me do cobwebs. I don't think there's any spiders left now. They think they've all gone. Cold weather got them. But my beech tree has come on nicely this year. It's put on some nice growth in suitable places. So we've still got some stuff to remove. You know, we've got crossing branches, cluttered branches. But again, I'll wait for the spring. But that needs a repot. That's lifting out of the pot now. You can see it's coming out of the pot and it's getting more difficult to water. Water runs off basically, so that needs doing. And the Deshojo's got to be repotted. That should have been done last spring and it got missed. I missed my chance. That has to be done next year. It's an absolute must. It's going in a totally different pot. It's not going in a really big shallow pot anymore. I want it in a deeper pot that's actually smaller in, you know, size, but deeper. So that's going to get a change of potting style. So yeah, there's plans, things going on in my mind, but not a lot of stuff getting done. And I'm afraid on the Bonsai channel, that's how it is. As far as I'm concerned this time of year, there isn't much going on. Deciduous trees are losing their leaves, and I don't touch them till the spring, till I see where the new growth is going to be most vigorous and least vigorous. You can't do that this time of year. And obviously if you start trimming this time of year and you end up cutting your most vigorous bits off, that might not be so good for the tree when the spring does come. So I like to see what's going on, so I wait for the spring. Oh, some good news. Come on out from under my feet, cat. The Trident maples, the set of 3, that we did an air layer on here, I think. Did we do one that failed? No. Anyway, the air layer that's on here is the top of the tree, and it has roots. There are roots in the bag. Now again, some people would be very tempted to take that off and pot it up. No! We won't be doing that now. What we'll be doing is waiting for the spring and repot it at that time. And once that's separated, the 3 that are left, I'll decide what I'm going to do with those. Some of them have already had a trunk chop. Well, obviously taking this air layer off, we'll chunk chop that one as well. Chunk chop, you know what I mean. And I've just noticed the wind has blown up, so I can't get at it. It's come round this way. It's like a maze, this place. It's because I've planted quite a lot of stuff in the gravel beds. My larch tree has blown off the staging. Luckily it landed upright and the pot didn't. Well, it's a plastic pot, so that wasn't so good, so we'll just pop that back up there. Again, that'll drop its leaves soon. And we've got a little bit of work to do on that larch as well. That was allowed to grow. Well, obviously you can see on all of the thin branches where all the buds are. So come the spring, when the buds start to move, I know exactly where the growth is going to be because it will show. So at that point I can decide which branches I'm going to keep, how long they're going to be, and what the basic outline of the tree is going to end up looking like. So, getting down there's okay, it's getting up again. Right, so that's a quick look round the bonsai. And as far as my bonsai channel is concerned, there really is not much point in videoing anything unless I'm doing something. This is just like an end of year summing up with, you know, some outline plans for what will happen in late winter, early spring. And that's about as far as I'm prepared to go at the moment. There will be some trees that will get some things done to them prior to any pruning or repotting. Those I'll take in the grow room and do them in my tray so I don't make a mess everywhere. But yeah, we've got some work to do with my Dremel, my carving tool. It's a rotary tool actually, it's not strictly speaking a Dremel, although they are one and the same. It's all in the name, you know. But I'm going to do some work on my Scots Pine on the shari and tidy the edges up and things, and then we've got some work to do on that juniper when I finally get that into a pot and do the branch selection, and some heavy wiring to get the branches I'm keeping positioned for the tree, if you see what I mean. So it's the real stage 1 styling, branch selection and heavy duty bending to get things in the right place. The smaller fine tuning may not get done next year. It might wait, especially as the roots are going to get disturbed and it's going in a bonsai pot, so I might leave it to then get those roots established. So that's what's going on. A couple of little trees we didn't look at. Got this little juniper here. Now that's put on quite a lot of growth, and as I'm keeping that as a small tree, that just needs pinching every now and again to keep the growth short and tidy and compact, which I keep forgetting to do. It's not going to grow much now till next year anyway. And then there's this little one here that's had initial shaping, and I think with that tree I will just let it get bigger as is, you know. So obviously the trunk will thicken up, the branches will thicken up, and it'll produce new growth that can be trimmed back so that it gets more compact as it gets bigger. I know that sounds like a backward view, but I know what I mean. You know, as the tree, the structure of the tree will get bigger all the time, but the new growth can be trimmed back at the same time as it gets bigger. So that's what we'll do with that one. The white pine needs some more work. I did some initial work on that, some initial branch selection, and did a little bit of wiring near the top. This large structured wiring that I did, we'll have to see if that's actually set yet, because if it is, those large wires can come off and leave room for some fine tuning where things like this, where you get a fan, there's 4 growths there, well that needs taking probably back to 2, 3 at the most, and they need turning up to point to the sky so that they all face upwards and look nice and tidy. So there's some fine-tuning work to do on the white pine as well. And then the only thing you have to ask yourself is, what on earth is he going to do with all those trees for the winter? You're looking at it. I don't do anything with my trees in winter. They will stay where they are. They probably won't get watered unless we get a serious dry spell, and only then if it's not cold. So I've finished with my trees now. They're where they're going to be for the winter. That's where they're going to stay. They will get whatever the weather throws at them, and they will either make it or they won't. Now, given that they made it last year, and we had some serious cold last year, yeah, we'll see. But I have no plans. There's no shelter anywhere. There's nowhere I can get them under cover. What I will do is the deciduous trees, when they've done autumn and they've dropped all their leaves and everything, they can go on the lower shelf of that staging to give them a bit of cover, basically. But apart from that, I won't be doing anything. The staging itself is here to catch the last rays of sunshine in the garden before the sun's too low in the sky for there to be any sun. Next year, as the sun gets stronger and we start getting into the, you know, genuine warmth in the sunshine, you come out the end of April into May and things like that, the staging will probably get rearranged, and some of it will come back over here so that the trees only get a small amount of sun during the day and they're not in the baking sun all day, those that don't need the sun all day. So there we go. So a sort of autumn update. I'd like to have more autumn colour, but I haven't got many trees that do autumn colour. It's funny actually, because the trident maple should actually have some brilliant autumn colour. And it's still bright green. Apart from the air layer at the top that's dropped its leaves. But the trident maple should have brilliant colour. But it's late doing it, it's not in tune with the other maples in the garden, so we'll wait and see. I mean, if that does a spectacular colour thing down the line, I'll get the old camera out and we'll have a look at that. But apart from that, I'll see you next time. Thanks for dropping by.